Let's be honest, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has become quite expensive. With issues of printing shortages due to COVID-19, we had the introduction of what has been termed the COVID sets. These sets include Eternity Code, Secret Slayers, and Rise of the Duelist. Within these boxes were introduced some extremely powerful archetypes such as the Eldritch and Dogmatica archetypes, and important staples such as Triple Tactics Talent and Forbidden Droplet. However, due to the hysteria from COVID, sales of these sets were small, and thus scarcity has caused key staples to reach prices of over $100. For new players to the game, or budget-oriented players, this may seem discouraging. However, I will seek to solve this issue. With each deck that's built, I will introduce budget options to certain expensive cards that will let you construct a competent deck for the price of what you would spend on a single costly staple. I would like to welcome you to the Budget Series. I would like to welcome you all to yet another episode of the Budget Series. Today we're going to be looking at the Umbrella Corporation mishaps known as the Myutants. These failed science experiments are the byproduct of Konami TCG's design department, and you know what that means. Another half-baked archetype that has zero meta relevance whatsoever, very similar to their other TCG exclusive archetype, War Rocks. I think I see what started the pattern. The Mutants, while being visually appealing and having a playstyle reminiscent of Thunder Dragons, lack very much in the substance department. However, since nobody wants these cards, we can get a core for very cheap, usually having Ultimus be the most expensive card. It's very surprising how badly this archetype flopped when it came from one of the most competitive sets in the recent years, which was Phantom Rage. These test tube rejects compared to their siblings Virtual World and Tri Brigade have seen zero meta relevance whatsoever and no competitive play at all. While Mutants aren't the most competitive deck, they can still top locals and can do well in a casual setting. In addition, it's worth to pick up the core, since the OCG is getting this import of the TCG exclusive archetype in World Premiere Pack 2021. Hopefully, this means that in the next year, or maybe within a few months, Mutants will get much needed support that hasn't been released since Phantom Rage debuted. Now the question is, how do we take one of Konami's worst designed TCG exclusive archetypes and actually make it decent? We need generic banishment support, of course. In order for this deck to function, we need constant access to our little mutants, which would be M005 and ST46. The biggest issue is you can only run 3 each of these main deck monsters, and you only have access to a single emergency teleport. This means you only have 7 starters and often will be breaking out the ass if you don't pull them. In order to substitute for this, we run a single copy of Goldsark and triple copies of Necroface. By banishing the Necroface using Goldsark or a tiny mutant effect from the hand, we'll be able to mill through our deck like an Adamancipator and be able to find the tiny mutants hiding in it. By using the Mutant Evolution Lab, which is the field spell, we can special summon the mutants that are in our banish pile and be able to combo off by summoning our bigger mutants, such as Beast, Mist, or Arsenal, so we can have some interruption or interaction during our opponent's turn. However, what happens if we don't pull any of our starters? We need to stall until we can finally find one. In order to do this, we run Triple Dimension Shifter, which can often end an opponent's turn before it even starts. We also run triple There Can Be Only One, a single Macrocosmos, and a single Dimensional Fissure. Banishing our monsters doesn't matter to us because we can use Mutant Cry to shuffle them into the deck to fusion summon our Mutant Synthesis or our Mutant Ultimus. Thus, we can oftentimes stop our opponent while not even hindering ourselves. In addition to all this, we also have access to our Continuous Trap Mutant expansion, which will allow us to add to our hand or special summon a level 4 or lower mutant monster from the deck. This isn't too great since it's reactionary, but it allows us to special summon MO5 during their turn and add a ST46 for follow-up plays by searching out a Mutant Evolution Lab. It's also important to note that for our tiny mutants, we need constant fodder for it to banish. For this, we run Triple Nemesis Keystone since whenever it's banished, it will add itself back to hand during the end phase, and since it's a monster, we can constantly summon out Mutant Beast, which is oftentimes the best big mutant. You might be asking, why is my extra deck not filled? That's because only 2 of these monsters actually matter. You want to run the 3 copies of Synthesis and the 3 copies of Ultimus, because your whole goal is to banish your mutants to be able to fuel your Mutant Cry and summon these 2 during your opponent's turn. Everything else is a tech choice. You can run Boral Sword to help with OTKs, you can run Unchained Abomination to help with field pops and clearing the field, you can run the Nightmare Unicorn to help get rid of troublesome guards, and you can also run the Nightmare Phoenix to pop some important backrow. These are just examples though, you can fill your extra deck with whatever you want. If you want to be really budget, you just filled it with the 3 Ultimates and the 3 Synthesis. With that, the deck is complete. We have ways to interact with our opponent during their turn by using Dimension Shifter, we have ways to floodgate them by using Tikaboo, we also have ways to get rid of their troublesome monsters and interrupt their combos by using Macrocosmos and our Dimensional Fissure. And these don't bother us at all since we don't have to worry about our banish pile since Mutant Cry is such a good trap. Hopefully, however, with the advent of the OCG getting this archetype, we will get some much needed support and hopefully some special summons from the deck. By throwing this deck into YGO Pro Deck Builder, we can see that it is a total of $64. There isn't much we can change, and honestly the price will go up if you add more cards to the extra deck, but for $64 you have quite a fun and a decent casual deck to play. I hope you all enjoyed the second video in the budget series, and I hope you look forward to the next one. I wish you all a great week, and until next time.